There's nothing wrong with immigrants from all of these countries. The United States needs as many immigrants as it could possibly settle in one particular year. Remember, we settled in the beginning of the 20th century, over 1 million refugees or 1 million immigrants a year. The country was 1/3 the size in terms of population. Today, we can clearly take 2 to 3 million a year. Yeah. It just requires the proper planning and the proper will to do so. If we were to take 2 to 3 million legal immigrants a year, this problem would go away.
Well, reality on the ground will inevitably change very soon, but when we're talking policy, gentlemen, is anything going to change until 2024, or is it, just buying time until then, Trimble Gomes?
What goes back into place after Title 42 is lifted is Title 8, which is like I said earlier, yeah. it's the business as usual, which some are unhappy with, and it still needs to be fixed. That is where when someone comes to the border and they want to come in, they get to plead their case to a border officer. They either say they want asylum status, and then they get treated that way. It's going to be a large influx, and whether the U.S. can handle that, that's the problem ahead. That's where the solutions need to come. How do we deal with the problem right in front of us?
But the big problem is the case isn't adjudicated on the spot or within a couple of days. They get a court case for 6 months, a year later, and that's absurd. They need to have a court case 3 days later, 5 days later. There needs to be a place to put them until their court case, and then they need to have a court case.
Mark, that's not going to happen. As you know, this country depends on illegal immigration for cheap labor. And until we get serious about controlling the border, we could issue 2.5 million visas tomorrow if the United States wanted to, but they would become legal. The wages would go up. So this country relies on cheap labor. We've turned the importation of cheap labor to the drug cartels and the criminal elements in Latin America and Mexico, and that's what we see happen.
Then the solution is to crack down on companies that hire these people and don't pay them their full wages, and do that. Millions of dollars in fines.
Mark, exactly right. Let me just tell you, I'm a property taxpayer in 3 counties in Texas. I can tell you that if I accidentally invite a man to come work on my house in South Texas, my car's confiscated, I'm fined $250,000, I go to prison. But companies can hire illegal aliens. The minute the CEOs and the board of directors do the perp walk in the federal courtrooms, illegal immigration will stop.